All right. You have your PDF of What a Beautiful Name is pulled up on your end, and I have it pulled up on my end. So it's time to first go through our whole lead sheet. And you know what we do before we play, before we get into the rhythm, the lyrics, the melody, any of that stuff. We want to see what do we already understand and know on our lead sheet. So if I pull it up, let's go and mark. What do we first know? Well, obviously, we know the title, right? So that's the first thing. And then from there, obviously, this one gives us a little BPM. So if we, want to know how fast to actually play this song, that's a good idea, 62 BPMs. And then we also see all of these chords down here. But on this particular lead sheet, they actually list all the chords right here for us on the top. So we don't have to necessarily go through and circle all the chords like we normally do because they give it to us here. So that A is right here, that G is right here, and so on. Okay? So let's just pay attention and focus on this box right here. Okay? What chords do we know out of that? Now, you see they have a little box here. Now, these boxes, that's more for the guitar. So you don't have to pay attention to that unless you're a guitar player. Just focus on the words, the letters above the boxes. So let's start with our D. We know what a D chord is. If you take in Vol.2, we know exactly how to form all of our major and minor chords in all 12 keys, all right? So we do know what a D is. Let's just circle that one. A G, we know what that is. A B minor, we know where B is. All we have to do is form a minor chord. So I'm going to be confident and that you're a great student and I'm a wonderful teacher. You're even a more fabulous student that you know exactly how to play a B minor and also a A. So we're going to uncircle those four. We know those four. Okay. So now we have A over C sharp. That might be a little different chord right there. So I will mark that one just in case we need to come back to it. That's probably not the best way to mark it. Let's just go back to blue here. Let's pick a blue. Let's just mark this one, A over C, and also our D over F sharp. I'm not sure we've played that one before. So let's mark that one. And then we have a B minor. We know that B minor because it's right here. But this one has one little thing. If I zoom in, you'll see there's a 7 up there. So let's just make sure we know that one and put a little mark right there. And then we have a F sharp minor 7. So these are all a couple chords where we might need to go over and evaluate just a little bit. So let me just mark that blue one right there. Okay. So now that we know all of our chords, let's just kind of go over the first verse and start playing the song, okay? Let me just zoom out. Our first chord is a D. Now, we know how to play a D, but on this particular song, how are they playing a D? Is it first inversion? Is it on the bottom, the root position, second inversion? And if you listen to it, the top note they're playing is actually the D note. So that means they're actually playing the first inversion. So we're going to put our D, that's actually going to be our first inversion or a D on top. So let me just go back here, grab a red. So we'll put our D on top or our first inversion, okay? So to do that, remember our D. Remember, we're trying to learn all the notes in every chord, so it'll be easier for us to make these inversions later. So a D chord has a D, a F sharp, and an A. So if I want to invert that chord, all I have to do is put this D on top right here. So I have a D, F sharp, A. And all I'm going to do for this song is actually bring it down an octave, okay? So I still have my D, F sharp, and A, and this is a D chord on top, okay? Now let's keep moving. Our next chord is a G chord. So coming from our D chord, a a D in my left hand in the bass, we just go to a G in the root position. Now, we don't have to move our fingers all over the place too much. All we need to do is just go move our finger. Look, our middle finger is already on the notes in a G chord. What's in a G chord? G, B, and D. So we keep our pinky finger on D, and we just move our middle finger to play that B and slide our thumb down, and we now have a G chord using our first, third, and fifth finger. You're very familiar with this chord, right? So that's a G on bottom. Let me just put that so we'll memorize that. So we go from a B on top. Let's play that. A D on top, I'm sorry. To a G chord. And then we have a B minor. Let me show you a little trick. So we're on our G chord. If you play a G chord and then you play in your left hand that same G, all you have to do to get to a B minor is two things. One, change our left hand to a B. And in our right hand, all we're going to do is slide our thumb up to a F sharp. And that gives us a B minor. Because the notes in a B minor are B, D, and F sharp. And you're like, how do I know that? Because easy, if I go and just play a regular major chord, that's a B major chord. And remember, to get a minor, it's that 2-3. We have a 3-2 to make a major. We have the root note and then 3 half steps. And then our note and then our 2 half steps and then a note. That's the 3-2 zone. But we're going to do a minor, so it goes a 2-3 zone. So we have a note, root note, 1, 2. And then our note, and then a 3, 1, 2, 3. And then we have that B minor right there. So once again, from the top, we have a D chord. We're going to a G chord. And all we do is change one note in our left hand to a B and slide our thumb up in our right hand. And that gives us a B minor. And our very next chord is very easy too. It's a little pivot that we do here. We go to an A chord. So what we do is pivot our wrist just a little bit and go down and play our A chord like this. And the reason I'm playing it with this fingering, which I'll tell you in a second, because I'm going right back to the B minor. So this is a real good transition, easy pivot. We're using all of our fingers here. So I hope you've been doing your finger exercises back in volume 1, all right? So A chord, remember, is A, C sharp, and E. So we're doing an A, C sharp, and E. We just inverted the chord, okay? And once again, the fingering, our ring finger is already on the C sharp. Our pointer finger is already on this A, and we're just moving our thumb to a E and a bass to a A. Okay, so right now, just kind of practice that pivot. Go from a B minor to an A using this fingering. You want to get real comfortable with this. And the reason why is because now, after we go from that, let's go back to the top real quick. So we have a D. Let's play all these chords. We're gonna give them 4 beats each. No melody, no lyrics, none of that just yet. So we're just gonna play all the chords. Let me move this out the way so we can see a little better. All right, here we go. 1, 2. Let's start it on D chord. Play. We have a D chord, 2, 3. To a G, 2, 3. Just slide your thumb up and move your bass note. 2, 3. To an A with the pivot. Let's do that one more time. Ready, play a D chord. 2, 3. To a G chord with the root position. 2. Now move your thumb up. Ready, and B minor. 2, 3. Now do the pivot with an A. 2, 3, and good. Okay. So if you got that so far, let's continue moving on. But if you're kind of like still struggling a little bit, maybe with the pivot or moving something, just pause the tape. It's totally fine. Practice a little bit, and when you're ready, press play and pick up exactly where we're starting now, okay? So next, what we want to do is go back to our B minor. So let me just play it one more time. You can play it with me. We have our D, 2, 3, 4 to a G, 2, 3. Move my thumb to a B minor, and the pivot's coming next, and a A, 2, 3. We go right back to the B minor, so I pivot right back to the B minor. And check this out, this A over C, that's the chord we wanted to look at. All it is going pivoting right back in my right hand to an A. So that's why that pivot is important to learn. But the only difference is instead of going to an A in my left hand, I go to a C sharp. And it just gives me a different tone. So that's why they call it an A over C sharp. So I have let's just start from this A right here. Just these 3 chords together. Let me get this. Just these 3 chords right here. That's a good practice mark. To practice this pivot, I'm going from my A, B minor, to A over C. Let's do it again. Ready? Play a A, B minor, to A over C sharp. 2, play it again. A A, B minor, to an A over C sharp. Let's do it one more time. Ready? Play a A, B minor, to a over C sharp. And guys, the very next chord is back to where we started, and that is our D chord. Okay? So out of all of this is pretty much the majority of the song, the progression. These are most of the chords in the song. There's 1 or 2 more I'm going to show you here in a second. But let's go back to this first verse, and let's just play once again this whole first verse, all the chords. No melody, no rhythm. We're just going to give each chord 4 counts just to make sure we're ready to move on to the next lesson, next part of the lesson, okay? Ready? 1, 2, ready, play a D chord. 2, 3, 4 to a G chord. 2, 3, B minor, move your thumb up. 2, 3, we have the pivot A. 2, 3, back to B minor. 2, A over C coming up. 2, 3, and end back on D. 2, 3, 4, and good. All right. Very nice, very nice. So once you have this, meet me on the next video, and let's start covering a little bit more rhythm on this song and going through the rest of the progressions.